Hello and welcome to Wake and Jake. It is August 12th. I knew that without looking at my computer. We are in it. Baseball season. It's still baseball only, although your football preseason updates are coming out. Saw Jordan Love got surgery on his finger. What does that mean? No idea. We'll find out. And we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk some baseball. Don't want to spoil tomorrow's Talkin' Baseball that we pre-recorded because we're getting some cricket on this week. Get ready for that. We've got a whole series coming up. You've never seen Jimmy the John Boy more excited, and we have made it a lot of fun. So if you're not in that world, which is understandable, a lot of us weren't swimming in it, you're going to be in a little bit, and we're going to have some fun with it, and we've got some John Boy Media extended friends getting involved. That's going to be a good time. But before we do any of that, I want to talk some baseball with you because the Milwaukee Brewers, they've been great, and I think if you're following baseball, you know that. But they've been better than that, and there's some basic numbers that we'll go through to show you that. And then there was a couple different other baseball articles that we were clicking through that all led to the same conversation that I'm excited to get into, and I'm excited to talk some Brew Crew and how seriously we should take them as the best team in baseball. And I guess it's a little bit your scope as a baseball fan nowadays. Do you believe in, is the playoffs a pure crapshoot to you? Do you believe in best teams? Do you believe in best players? I think I had an old how good are your best players theory that I was working on that Ohtani really helped me out.
I think last year we did the infamous like top threes.
Right, because like you needed I was going through a bona fide dudes theory, which might still exist, and maybe we'll still get there. Who were the last World Series champions? Dodgers. Nice.
2023 was the Rangers.
Texas Rangers. Seager was kind of that guy. And Simeon had a monster year, I believe.
Yes. The Astros.
Astros, they're pretty good. We don't need to do that right now. I'm not going to do that right now. I want to talk a lot of Brewers with you, so you should be interested in this if you're a baseball fan. And if you're a John Boy Media fan and you normally enjoy here, Instagram, other YouTube, podcasts, whatever it is, we have a website now, and it's a Substack. So for some of you people that means something, for others it doesn't. But go check it out. We've got some exclusive content that goes up on there. Joe's has been reacting to things, kind of his strength. Some videos from the Long Lost Vault, and a bunch of other stuff with our different creators. If you do subscribe, there's permanent discounts on merch. So if you ever buy any shirts, which we've been making a lot, wearing one now, or you go to our events, it's $6 per month. Go to johnboymedia.com. Check it out. Subscribe. We love you. Let's get into the curious case of the Milwaukee Brewers. So what I didn't want to spoil about tomorrow is we did a Talkin' Baseball power rankings, me and Coach Trev, about that time of year, post-trade deadline. We hadn't done one since May, which probably a little bit of a miss because a lot has changed. Tampa Bay Rays, both New York teams, and the Milwaukee Brewers are part of that. They've been winning a ton of games. They're on a 10-game win streak right now. That's pretty good. I don't think it's nearly their most impressive split. I've seen a lot of teams go 10-0. I haven't seen a ton of teams go 25-4. That is insane in their last 29. If you keep going, 35-9, which is another 10 wins and 5 losses, which, again, it's not the pace that 25-4 is probably the most impressive one, but 35-9 is unbelievable. The Brewers have been playing amazing baseball. At one point this season, they were 25-28. On May 24th, they lost a game to the Pittsburgh Pirates 2-1 after losing to the Pittsburgh Pirates 5-6 the night before. The Brewers were sitting there at 25-28, and Pat Murphy was benching guys. Pat Murphy benched a guy for a swing decision. Joey Ortiz. I mean, we've seen defensive miscues. We've seen not running, swing decisions. There's some teams that don't even believe in that. We interviewed Aaron Boone today, and he was defending Austin Wells, who's in a pretty bad slump, kind of saying that, not that they don't believe in swing decisions, because they do, but that to be a benchable offense would be sinful. To critique a player's swing. That's where the Brewers were at. It was scary times. We were made a lot of joke about Pat Murphy. We're treating them like a college team. And then since then, they've gone on one of the best runs we've seen out of a baseball team since we have been covering baseball as a company. The undefeated Rays started their season in 23, I believe. That was impressive, but that was like 1 month, and then things fell apart there. They do it in the only way to describe it is Brewers-y fashion. Their top player in WAR right now is Bryce Terang. Visited the office one day. It was nice. I wouldn't say people were... we've had a couple office visitors where people get angsty. No, Bryce Terang and Sal Frelick kind of walked in. I'd say their shoe apparel gave away that they were baseball players. Otherwise, could have just been like, oh, are these BBD's cute friends he goes out with on the weekends? Really nice guy. Did Terang have a nice tattoo?
I believe he had
some
bit
nice
of a
ink.
sleeve going.
Nice
guys. I can't say.
Nice guys.
Can't say it's on the short list of visits that have gotten bragged about here.
3.9 WAR in 113 games. He has a 112 OPS plus at second base with 21 steals while playing some world-class defense at second base. After that, Freddie Peralta, who has been their ace, and he probably deserves more respect. And you keep going down the line. William Contreras, Isaac Collins, who has appeared out of nowhere and been amazing for them. Chirrillo, currently on the IL. Yelly, Frelick, Caleb Durbin, who I think I'm taller than, Quinn Priester. You start getting into the bullpen for them. And ESPN came out with a top 50 list for players within this season, and I want you guys to give me partial credit, because that would have been a real easy YouTube click, but I didn't take it. Because a lot of it's pretty obvious. Like, who are the best players this year? You guys kind of know that. If you're tuning into this program. What was of note that BBD pointed out, no Brewers on the list. Not a beer in sight. Like BYU and college weekend. That was nothing. But it's the whole point of this Brewers baseball that they, 1 through 9, everyone seemingly brings a lot of the same things. They put it in play. They play good defense. They're athletic. The power is the only thing missing. They're 20th in home runs, with 3rd in batting average, 3rd in on base, 5th in run score. They've got 2 more games with Pittsburgh. They do have a skiing day today, so let's see how that goes for them. But they have been amazing, and a big pivot point of their season is going to come up in about a week. They play the Cubs, I believe, a 5-game set. The Chicago Cubs, who are currently 6.5 games back of the Brewers. The Cubs, in their electric start, they found themselves in this position. Even a 3 out of 5 from the Cubbies doesn't super move the needle for 6.5. And what if it goes the other way? And the way things have been going for the Brewers, it would look like that. How seriously should we take Milwaukee? We did power rankings on Talking Baseball. I've now teased this 3 times. And me and Trev both revealed our number 1 team. He had the Brewers. Chalk, soft, and probably right. In my mind's mind, in my heart's heart, I put the Phillies out there. The Phillies have taken the NL East by storm. / the Mets have fallen off. The other thing that's going through my head when I did that, is there some truth serum involved a true power ranking of today? It's really hard to pick against the Brewers for all the numbers I gave. the Phillies have been playing good baseball, and they have a more recent playoff pedigree. And this is the thing that you yourselves at home are going to have to figure out, because the Milwaukee Brewers have been a very good baseball team. They have made the playoffs every year except once since 2018. That year they didn't make the playoffs, they finished with 86 wins. They were second in the NL Central. I believe that was the year they traded away Hader, so the vibes were a little off. And I believe that's the last season before the new playoff format, where I'd have to double check, but I'm guessing there's a good chance. There's a good chance in a lot of years now 86 gets you in the dance. So if it is or isn't, probably could have looked it up, and I'm sorry. But the point is the Brewers have played a lot of winning baseball since 2018, and even 2017, if I really want to loop them in, that's another 86-win year. In 2018, they lost the NLCS in Game 7 to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Dag nabbit. Those Dodgers went on. What did they do that year? I'm never good at that. World Series MVP Steve Pearce. So it seems like the Boston Red Sox beat them. That was the year that the Dodgers were platooning and taking out some of their best players, which felt really frustrating from the outside world as someone rooting against the Red Sox, seeing Cody Bellinger not be in the lineup, having an MVP season, seeing David Freese bat cleanup, even though he wasn't the problem. Anyways, that's out of sight, out of mind. So they go to Game 7 with the Dodgers, a game away from the World Series. Since then, they have won one division series game. One division series game. They lost last year in the NL Wild Card, the Pete Alonso walk-off off of Devin Williams. Devin Williams hasn't been the same since then. The polar bear broke him. I don't know about that. But it hasn't been good for the New York Yankees, who were not as high up on the power rankings list. You will have to tune in for that tomorrow. The point is, the Brewers have their formula. Corbin Burns was a stud for them. Yelly was kind of in MVP-ish mode for a few years. Wilson Contreras recently tried to remind everyone he finished 5th in the MVP last year. He has been playing a lot better of late. That maybe, as far as best players on a team goes, could he end up heading into the postseason? Is that for the Brewers? Sure. But this franchise that's had a lot of regular season success hasn't had the postseason success. Maybe it's blind luck of the draw that a lot of these teams do believe in, and there's some merit. Yankee fans have been pretty tough on their Yanks for looking back at their path last year and seeing the Guardians and the Royals, who are both out of the playoffs as of today and don't necessarily have some of that higher-end talent besides their one or two pieces of higher-end talent that those teams are known for. I put the Phillies first because I believe in all their names. They have had the recent postseason success. There's a little bit of I don't want to say a last ride with the Phillies, but at the beginning of the season, everyone came out and was like, wait, Schwarber's a free agent, Real Muto's a free agent, and all these guys are in their 30s now, which in baseball is kind of code for a ticking time bomb of sorts. I'm not putting that necessarily on Philly. This doesn't have to be their last ride. But they have looked like the Phillies throughout the year. They have the rotation there, even with Nola on the IL right now. And I'll be honest, Duran in the back of their bullpen does feel like a significant change from what we've seen in the Phillies from previous years. Even though they've had playoff bullpens that have come together to a degree, Duran being the bad man at the end of the game feels different. Not just the walkout song with the spider thing, which is cool. We like that. But he just feels like a game changer. More so the 104 he can tap into at any moment. That I like the Phillies. And if I'm just being honest with myself, and part of the reason we do power rankings and part of the reason people like power rankings is the way you define power is different than the way I define power. Maybe you like the last 30 games more, where you can't argue against the Brewers at all. Maybe you do like recent playoff success still matters in your head. That how can you rule out the Dodgers? How can you rule out the Padres? Like the way that their deadline has changed their team, they've literally, there was an inappropriate joke made that all their holes have been filled. I will not add any commentary to that. Trevor made a joke about that. I don't find it funny. It was all right. It was a good joke. Which brings us back to Milwaukee. Right now playing without Jackson Chourio, who was lighting up the second half, and he showed that in his rookie season that he also had a massive second half that, like, he would have an argument for potentially their best player. They're currently playing without him and still winning a lot of games. I mentioned that Phillies team, a guy that was a core part of that. Rhys Hoskins has been out with a sprained thumb, that he was one of the guys you would look at for power coming into the season on that team. Garrett Mitchell, another shoulder surgery, is someone whose stats you looked at and you're like, hey, if the Brewers click this year, maybe it's him. Well, it's not. It's not him. Jacob Misiorowski, you remember him, the All-Star. He has been out for a little bit. He will come back. Logan Henderson, another young stud for them, just went on the aisle with some elbow inflammation. They just called up Tobias Myers, who pitched in the postseason for them last year, had a 3 flat ERA over like a $140 innings. Their pitching depth is insane. It does become an interesting name value conversation. I do believe in name value come the postseason. When the Mets were killing it this year, I said that I would add to their bullpen because, yes, the Mets seem to become a pitching factory of sorts, tapping into guys a la the Milwaukee Brewers. But I still think there's something to having the Jimmies and the Joes out there, that when you make that bullpen call, especially in October, the guy that's coming into the game is a guy that the other team fears. Like, sure, he needs to be having good momentum and throwing well. We see bullpens shuffle all the time, depending who that is. But I think there's a certain factor that even in this current Brewers bullpen, Trevor McGill and Abner Uribe, even if you're not as familiar with them, depending how deep you are in the baseball world, they have that effect. No offense to Jared Koenig, excuse me, who has been really good for them and throws with funk and through last postseason. Nick Mears, who's been a nice add for them out of the Colorado bullpen. Hey, maybe I get a little too name dependent there. I just think it's a little bit of a factor that going back into a postseason series, Freddie Peralta and Brandon Woodruff, you should absolutely respect. There is no argument about it. Freddie Peralta has been a really good pitcher the last couple years. If you do best pitchers since 2020, if you go by ERA, which I still find a decent stat, there's a very strong argument that Brandon Woodruff is a top 5 pitcher in Major League Baseball. He has come back. He has thrown really well in his early games. This is getting before Misiorowski. This is getting before Logan Henderson. This is getting before we tap into those other potential postseason guys that could have a moment. And let's see who that is for them. Pitching-wise, I don't think you can discount the Brewers. Can I still like the Phillies because they have those starting pitchers that I have seen done it in the past however many postseasons now? I think that is, but I don't think you look at the Brewers and you wonder, is the pitching going to be their Achilles heel? I don't believe so. I think they have the depth. I think they have high-end arm talent. I think they have the kind of arm talent that could peak come October that makes a memory and makes a season special. If we're being honest, it's the offense that scares us. And now I'm a batting average person. They are third in batting average. The top 6 teams this year are some of the 6 top teams in baseball. They're third in on-base percentage. That's good. 12th in OPS, not as great. 5th in runs, very good. Second in stolen bases. Second in stolen bases. And they're 20th in homers. So as we discussed that earlier, not crushing it with the long ball necessarily, but they seem to do everything else, and it seems like everyone in the lineup does everything else. It just does become a true test of what do you believe in. the postseason success or lack of success recently, what does that mean to you? Are you like, ooh, I got to see it from this Brewers team? Or do you say the postseason's become a crapshoot? The Texas Rangers, who made a run a couple years ago, hadn't seen a lot of postseason success from them, and they won the whole damn thing. Their current lineup construction, and again, this changes day in, day out, lefty-righty a little bit, but the most consistent one recently has been Sal Frelick, Isaac Collins, William Contreras, Yelly, Andrew Vaughn, who has come in and been a revelation, if not what you'd expect a high-end Reese Hoskins to be. Blake Perkins, known for his defense, but has been contributing offensively. Bryce Terang, like we mentioned, an argument for the best player on the team. Caleb Durbin, Joey Ortiz on the left side for them with a mix. Monasterio, he's usually filling in at second base. Do you know Anthony Siegler, the old Yankees catcher, has been playing third for them?
Yeah.
What do they teach in their minor leagues? Because I'm looking for a Yankee that plays one position. Anyways, enough of the hate on that. Let me take a second to tell you about Cushy Dreams, presenting sponsor of Wake and Jake. Sometimes things make sense. You guys know our friends at Cushy Dreams, great THC products that ship directly to you. Everyone loves their gummies. We love them. You've seen them on our JJTV channel. They get the job done. If you're into the bud, the flower, yeah, they got that too. They sell it in different sizes. They sell the different strands, sativa, indica, whatever you are looking for. Go check it out at cushydreams.com. And they've got a great deal for you. You like the gummies? Good. You like the smokable stuff? Great. Or if you like anything in the entire store, take 20% off with code JOHNBOY at checkout. So if this is something you're into, why not give it a try? If you're someone thinking about it, find a safe place, maybe your friend that's in the game. Get some Cushy Dreams, take a nibble, ease yourself in, and save yourself some money. 20% off, code JOHNBOY at checkout. Let's get back. Let's see who the Brewers get matched with. If we did MLB postseason bracket with the BBD simulator, what does it currently look like? The 1 seed would be the Brewers, Abby. They would play the winner of the Cubs or the Padres. Interesting. The Padres, you guys know they were probably the second best team in baseball last year. There was a ton of rumors about them and what they were going to do. I feel like we were talking Padres selling stuff way too much that they never did. And they've just continued to add to the point that they have a new designated hitter in Ryan O'Hearn. They have a new left fielder in Ramon Laureano. They have a new catcher in Freddie Fermin. Those were all the holes on that lineup. Insert joke. Their pitching staff. It is the first time this year San Diego has Pivetta, King, Cease, and Darvish healthy. Not to mention former Brewer, Nestor Cortez, rounding out their rotation. And not to mention the back end of their bullpen. If the Padres have a lead in the playoff game in the 5th inning, let's daydream a little. Let's say the first guy out is Jeremiah Estrada. He's been really good. Let me get some stats up for you because I feel like people like stats. Let's say the first person out of their bullpen is Jeremiah Estrada. Broke out last year. What he has done this year, 54.2 innings, a 2.47 ERA, 79 strikeouts. That is a 13 K per 9. All right, we could give him a righty lane or a lefty lane if we really wanted to. Let's say we need to get some lefties out. Why don't we kick it to Adrian Morejon? 2 flat ERA on the year, 54 innings, 54 strikeouts. But he has been nothing short of dominant. He was an all-star this year. Let's say we need another inning out of Jason Adam. Jason Adam has the lowest ERA. David Morgan has an argument, who you might not have ever heard of. He has a 1.71, So who knows how they want to use him, if they want to use him. Jason Adam, 57.1 innings, a 1.73. The guy who's been closing games for them, Robert Suarez, also an all-star this year, 50.1 innings, 51 strikeouts, a 3.22 ERA. He throws a hunch, sure. And oh yeah, that other guy they picked up at the trade deadline, Mason Miller. In his 5.1 innings of Padre baseball, he has 12 strikeouts, a 3.38 ERA. This is leaving out who's going to kick out of their rotation. Is that someone that they could possibly use? I mentioned David Morgan casually. Wandy Peralta has kicked into gear for them, another lefty. And if you remember Wandy Peralta, he pitched in all 5 of the Yankees ALDS games against Cleveland. I believe he was the first pitcher to ever do that. He's got some dog in him. And I think, did he ever challenge me to a fight online? Or was he just open to it?
Seemed like he really wanted to.
Seemed like he was open to it. A kooky character, the kind of character that is such a character, I don't think the moment would get to him. Although most recently he did get some notoriety from not knowing how to execute the hidden ball trick. So I don't think I can throw him in necessarily the heady category. But I think it should be noted that Wandy Peralta a couple years back was like the go-to Yankee option out of their bullpen. Did he get a postseason save?
I think so. I mean, at minimum, with the way this bullpen shakes out, if they find themselves in a matchup where he's the guy that I don't know, Freddie Freeman's coming up and you need to get out of that inning before you get it to the rest of the guys, he might face Freddie Freeman 5 times.
La Graça. Yeah, and he's actually, when Wandy's changeup is on, I think he has been better against righties this year. The point of it is they will have a full bullpen with a lot of names you're more familiar with if you're in the Major League Baseball world. Righties, lefties, velo, whatever you are looking for. That, for me, I think if I'm being honest with myself, if there was a 5 or 7 game series with Milwaukee or San Diego, I would tend to lean San Diego. I've seen these guys in the postseason. I've seen what Tatis can do in a big series in a big moment. I know who Machado and Arias are. Bogarts has actually turned it on for his first time in Padres history. That I think if people were being honest with themselves, the Brewers have been amazing. Amazing. And I'll be honest, like, we have some Brewers ties, the infamous Jimmy pulling his hamstring in the sausage race. There's been a lot of people in that organization that have been crazy nice to us. I would root Brewers. I'm going to be rooting Brewers. I mean, Pat Murphy, I hope, becomes the standard of managing, because he's actually managing the team, which the fact that that has become obvious or not obvious is insanity. That I will be rooting for Milwaukee. But I think if you did this same exercise with the Phillies, who, starting rotation-wise, they're there. The bullpen's thinner. There's no argument for me on that, but they still have a couple dudes in that bullpen. They have guys that have pitched in a lot of recent postseasons. And then what if I hopped over to the Dodgers? That, hey, the Dodgers bullpen right now is horrifying. If we put them down on paper against every team I just mentioned, okay. The Dodgers can still go toe-to-toe rotation-wise. Snell is coming back, 5 innings, 10 Ks the other day. Glass now looks great. That Ohtani guy, Yamamoto, Clayton Kershaw. They're going to have to figure things out in the back end. And when October rolls around and Blake Trinan comes out, again, I'd hope he has a little more recent success than he has, but I wouldn't bet against that guy unless it stays where it is. What other pitchers are they going to get back by them? It's going to be part of the Dodgers story. But also, if we were betting real money, I don't know where you'd land. We need to see the rest of the way with the Dodgers to truly feel how we'd feel. They are first in runs scored as of today. They're first in OPS as of today. Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, Will Smith, Muncy, Teoscar. Like, what do you think those guys are going to be in the postseason? They're not going to be pushovers. So as much as I like what the Brewers have done, and as much as I want to believe it, and how much I'm going to root for them, I think it is going to be a seeing is believing thing for me, because the Dodgers, the Padres, the Phillies, I mean, these guys have been the powers in baseball the last few years, where I love what the Brewers have done. I need to see it come October. I want it to work come October. I think if you're being honest with yourself, power rankings, you would take the other guys. And maybe that's lame, and maybe I'm wrong. But I think that's just being real about it. Will be interesting to see, are they going to come back down to earth? Like, what conversation are we going to be having in late September about Milwaukee? Have the Cubs come back at all? We've seen almost every division race have a change up until this point of the season. Seattle got out to that lead. Houston took it back. They are now in a dogfight that I think is going to last the rest of the season. Even Detroit had a 14, 15-game lead. That's down to 6.5 over the Guard Dogs. So I guess that hasn't changed, but different. There was a point the Yankees were in first place for a chunk of time. They are now out of that. Toronto has taken over as they've played a pretty brand of baseball. With the Sox starting to sneak up on them, Yanks ain't dead until they are, which they might. And then again, the Mets at one point were like a dominant baseball team in this season. Like the Mets, people were talking about getting their Mets. The Mets were kind of the first team people thought would be out of the NL this year because we assumed the Atlanta Braves would be good. They have not been that. They're still in. They need to right the ship just as much as the Yanks, but Cincinnati's lurking a little bit. Arizona, people thought they might be good. That fell apart quickly. I'm sorry to all my Milwaukee fans that have listened to this part of the show. I think you guys have some of the same fears. Like, we don't have to treat it like, what are you talking about, bro? The World Series is ours. I mean, it's not till it is, for one thing. Shout out Yogi. And I just think it's kind of a realistic take that I do want to see what is next. Milwaukee has the 5th toughest schedule the rest of the way. Do what you want with that if you're a person that's into that. The Chicago Cubs have the 3rd easiest schedule the rest of the way. So I could see the Central coming back in the race. That is not a popular thing to say right now, as the Cubs are struggling so hard offensively right now, and Milwaukee's unstoppable. But how many ebbs and flows of this season have we seen? Remember when the Rays were the hottest team for like a month and a half? They're so out of it now. That we're a month and a half out. I referenced it last episode. Right about now is when the Detroit Tigers were a sub-500 team that went nuts to make the postseason and then win a playoff series. There could be a team that does that this year. Or maybe it's one of the higher-up teams. Because here are the teams. I'm going to read off to you the easiest schedules the rest of the way. Number 1, the Dodgers. Okay. Number 2, the Padres. So get ready for that. Those teams also play each other 6 times. First 3 are this weekend. The Cubs at 3. Number 4, the New York Yankees. I need to stop looking at this. But man, their schedule is so easy, it's insane. If they don't win games against the White Sox and the Nationals, then, I mean, literally burn it down. 5 is Houston. 6 is Detroit. I have a little bit of Detroit stock. I think they're going to kick back into gear. And then it's Seattle, San Francisco, Boston, Philly. So, I don't know. I'm sorry to all my friends in Milwaukee. I'm going to have to believe it. I hope it's a magical thing. Who knows? Is playoff Mizorowski a thing? Is it some other freak show that they have on that team? The offense makes me nervous, even though all the numbers should currently tell me it does not. I still think October, there's a Jimmy and the Joes theory there. And I think a couple of those contenders, the 6 easiest schedules are all good teams that are currently in the playoffs. Like one of them is going to get hot. And I think this is the real test. If the postseason's rolling up, it's the final week and a half of the season. If the Brewers put up a 2-8, would you still believe in them to be the best team? It's where baseball gets sick, and I kind of don't know the answer within myself, and you can hear that in my voice. But it's an honest question where I think if LA or Philly or San Diego limps into the playoffs like that, you'd still look at them and say, like, well, if they win game 1 and Zach Wheeler pitches 8-inning shutty, or Snell goes 6-inning shutty, or King or Tatis hits 2 homers, you're still there. With Milwaukee, I think you'd lose a little of that. This was tough. I'm kind of not happy with myself. I'd tell you to subscribe. Maybe don't for this episode. Maybe don't. No, I would like that. And I hope you enjoyed this a little bit. We'll be back next week. Let's see what that has for us. Go Sports. We love you.